Okay, mic check. You should be able to hear and see the screen now. Let me just get this oriented. Welcome, welcome. Cool. Roger 10-4, yes sir. All right, good morning, folks. TradePhantoms.com. And I'm Mr. Blue, as they call me. And today we're going to do what a 1 hour session here. Kind of walking you through a sneak peek of what it's like in the trade room, or one of the trade rooms we have at TradePhantoms.com. It's going to be more oriented to futures and stock options, if you will, and a little bit more heavier on the day trade side. So we're going to see if we can get some actionable, executionable setups. All right, so let's dive in. I'm pretty sure this is okay here. We're good enough at least to see kind of what's going on. And I think that will be good. Fine and dandy there. Okay, let's dive in. Let's get to the charts. All right, I'm going to start with the S&Ps. Good morning, folks. Blue's the new orange. Let's go. Orange is a very powerful color in my trade rules because it's a monthly level, which I will acclimate folks right now regarding that, segue right into that. So somebody said orange. So TradePhantoms.com, Mr. Blue here. 1 hour session here. I'll do some prep and I'll trade the open with you as always. And y'all know my true Phantom members. Sometimes we go all day in the trade room, right? So this is going to be just a 1 hour session here on YouTube, just to kind of give you a taste of what it's like. Somebody had mentioned orange, right? So that being said, that will segue me right into perfectly segue me into what we do as a foundation at Phantoms, which is going to be supply demand, right? Institutional order flow, qualifying very high quality levels of demand and supply institutional wise, and then we also go through a multiple time frame analysis from a top-down approach, multiple time frame analysis. So, orange, someone just making a joke there, blue is the new orange. I color code everything here. So monthly, weekly, daily, you always want to start with the high time frame. So even if I'm taking a small short-term trade, S&P futures, NASDAQ futures, what have you, and I could be in and out very quickly on a scalp, I still need to know where I am on the higher time frame. So orange is the color code that I map out for, monthly levels. So monthly highs, monthly lows, monthly demand, monthly supply, monthly trend, etc. Weekly down here, daily in blue, weekly is yellow. Okay, this is a quick checklist. I'm not going to go through every single thing on this checklist, but this is a checklist that is downloadable for members and could kind of kickstart their trade plan, if you will, right? So I'm not going to get into that here. I'm going to get straight to the charts, but we also have a couple candlesticks here. Okay, bullish candlesticks, location being very important, or the most important bearish candlesticks. You don't need to memorize all the names, but as long as you understand what they're telling you, and more importantly, where the location is of these said candlesticks, are going to be more reliable and dominant. And then my favorite liquidity map here, where we kind of break down what side of the market to be on, get on the right side and ride, cut losers when wrong, ride winners when right. And we kind of put together this quadrant. I kind of put together this quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4, and kind of connected that with some orders of executions of when to do something and when not to do something. Okay, so I'm going to dive right into the charts in a moment here. Get spies. This market recovered very quickly off of the Japan announcement, but just wanted to, in terms of major news that's coming out. Today being Tuesday, August 20th, which I should have timestamped in the beginning. So today's August 20th, 2024, 8:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there's really absolutely nothing today in the U.S. in terms of news. Okay, last week we had OPEX, the options expiration, so that's done. And then, tomorrow we get a FOMC meeting minutes. So you might want to put that on your radar for tomorrow. And then also Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole is going to be a meeting that is kicking off on Thursday. So that's that's something that you just want to keep your eyes and ears kind of open for that, just in case anything is said that is a surprise. But typically they keep it nice and quiet for the most part. But so the long story short, key takeaway here is it's pretty quiet in terms of major news, at least in the U.S. Okay, Canada, a few currency traders have their CPI that already came out today. So pretty quiet. A couple things in Europe, but for the U.S., fairly quiet. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go over to Think or Swim. Think or Swim. This is where I trade futures and options. So, but what I'm going to do before I start off, and real quick, you'll see I have 3 charts here. I have the monthly on the left, weekly in the middle, daily on the right. So kind of mapping out some levels, etc. But one of the things that I'm going to do right before I get into the nitty gritty of certain levels is I'm going to check just to see overlay the major 4 indexes just with futures. So I'm just starting on a daily time frame here. And I got the S&P on the upper left. I got the NASDAQ futures on the upper right. I got Dow Jones lower left. And I have the Russell 2000 small caps on the bottom right. So as you can see, we had a big drop. I'll make this kind of bigger here with more time. Daily time frame here of the S&P futures. Okay. And so we've been on a raging bull market, right? And then we kind of had a breakdown. I've been talking a lot about this. In the trade room. We had a breakdown here. In fact, actually, if I kind of rabbit hole real quick, I kind of drew this out in another session that we had, understanding your impulse correctional waves from the macro to the from the macro being high time frame down to the smaller time frame. So as you can see, kind of mapped out the impulse. We were on the correctional wave of the monthly time frame, and then inside of that we have smaller time frames structure as well. Okay, so even though we had a big drop. Okay, Nasdaq was 15% off highs. Nasdaq dropped 10% in about 3 days. Leading up into Japan, it came right into a massive monthly level, and you can see we basically recovered essentially everything that we did for the past 2 weeks with that whole Japan rate rise, right? So markets recovered very quickly, very nicely. We had one of the biggest VIX moves up. Okay, it was record-breaking VIX move up. Okay, it did not move as fast in terms of a percentage move that quickly. And then we also, in addition to that, we also had a very record-breaking VIX move down. Okay, and that even holds the record for even COVID. The COVID drop and VIX spike, and then market drop, VIX spike up, and then VIX fading down. So markets recovered very nicely off of that, and the monthly levels, again, as we mentioned, monthly levels are going to be extremely important, right? And somebody was saying orange, right? The color orange, so very orange on my charts are very important. So the point that I'm trying to make here, though, however, getting back to the current charts right here. Okay, we had a nice fade move up yesterday. I'm sorry, not yesterday, last week, for the past 2 weeks. Okay, so this is a daily time frame of the S&P futures. So as you can see, we had this big drop. We had inside bar down here. Okay, then we really made a nice move up. Last week in options expiration, we were getting above call walls. Market makers were going to have to hedge. We were in positive GEX, so GEX. So I talked a little bit about that for the group, and markets are kind of just back onto the fading highs. Now, just be careful with this. We do have a couple of levels up here in supply. It's kind of grinding its way through. Okay, and I would not be surprised one bit if we make all-time highs in the short pretty soon, right? Now, the only thing that I will say about this too is now that OPEX is kind of done, and we did kind of break very sharply above certain options expiration. The next monthly expirations are kind of filling in right now, so we could have a little bit of a correction off this level right here. Okay, so I'll make a note of that, and I'll make sure that everybody is prepared for that, especially tomorrow when we have more time in the live trade room. Okay, but we have a couple of levels up here. Other than this level right here, if we break a bit more higher, then we're basically testing all-time highs. Okay, we're basically testing all-time highs here, and I have the S&P futures here, so you can see that. Okay, so just be cautious of this. These little supply zones here. Now we are due for, I would say, a bit of a correctional move down in here. Okay, and I'll drill down to the smaller time frames so we can refine some levels. And specifically in futures, I'm going to be looking for what's called a Globex trap setup. Okay, this is the Nasdaq. I'll go through this fairly quicker, I should say. Bringing that more time Okay, so we have again uptrend. We kind of cracked this. Okay, the dailies did kind of break its structure, higher high, higher low over here to the left, failure to make a new high, and then we broke down a little bit here. Okay, as mentioned. So even before this drop down in Japan, markets were giving us a little bit of a tell sign that we could go a little bit more lower with this daily lower, low, lower, high structure. Came down to the monthlies. Okay, put a wick in, anti-bar, anti-bar, anti-bar. Nasdaq is fading higher. I had mentioned, maybe even on YouTube, not sure, that this level right here, I know it's going to be tough to see the numbers with the gray space background on the charts, but I will click over to the darker space in a moment and refine that for us here. But we had a level right here in the NASDAQ, which is very obvious, and a lot of people were connected to this level. So I had kind of almost knew when everybody is looking at it, retail, it's less reliable. So I pretty much, for the most part, I don't want to say I knew it was going to happen, but this first level of in NASDAQ was most likely going to be a liquidity sweep above here. And we did come up into this level right here. The next daily level, NASDAQ, basically call it 20,000, give or take. So the high today is 19,931. Okay, so if we get up into the 2,000, above the 2,000, up into, I'd say 2,120, 20-ish, 130-ish, give or take, that might be a decent little area for the markets to at least put in, for NASDAQ, put in some supply and maybe give us a little correctional move to the downside here, which is kind of needed for this market to potentially continue higher. Okay, I also have another level up here too as well, 20,004, call it 490. I'll just round up 20,500. That's another little level right here. Now Nasdaq has not recovered as much. Nasdaq has not recovered as much as say the S&P 500. So tech is taking a break from being the lead dog, lead pack, lead wolf, lead right in the pack for a couple of years now, right? So tech is just got sold off just a little bit more. Semiconductors got sold off a bit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Nasdaq is not as strong coming out of this as comparative or relative to the S&P 500. Okay, now I'm gonna drill down and refine. You'll be able to see the numbers a lot clearer on the darker background. I got Dow Jones to the left. I got Russell 2000. Russell 2000 very quiet right now. Dow Jones, still doing its thing, kind of recovering, not as much. But I'm more of an S&P, Nasdaq kind of guy or a trader, and I like some small caps too. So I kind of leave Dow Jones out a little bit there. It's a little jealous, but it's all good. It'll be all right. Okay, so I'm going to switch to the monthly, weekly, daily here, darker background. You'll be able to see better. All right, quick lay of the land. I got monthly here on the left. I got daily here in the middle. I got weekly, monthly, weekly, daily, monthly, weekly, daily. Okay, all right, from left to right. And I'm not going to go through the monthly, weekly, daily. We just did a quick little note on that. All right, so as you can see, S&P futures kind of up at this level. Okay, I'm going to drill down. Now we did kind of break this level right here, this daily little level right here. We broke that. Now a lot of times what happens is we'll break this level and we'll see, might want to trap some bullish traders, right? After we rallied up so much, right? This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 days up. Now we can still go higher, okay? But this is going to be an interesting level here because we are above here. So I'm curious, and while NASDAQ is in its deeper into its second level of supply. So it'll be interesting to see, today, maybe tomorrow, give or take, if we can have a little bit of a correctional move here. All right, but that being said, let me go into the smaller time frames here, being the 60. So I have the 60-minute time frame here on the left. I have the 30-minute here on the bottom left. I have the 5-minute here and the 2-minute time frame here. All right, so I'll start from the higher time frames, intermediate time frames, low time frames. All right, so minimum of 3, high, low, medium. All right, I'm going to drill down on the what am I on the 60 right now? I'm on the 60. I'm going to use I'm going to look for what's called Globex traps. Okay, Globex high, Globex low. So in Thinkorswim, it kind of grays this out for us. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit here so y'all can see this a bit more better. And Globex is a fancy word for overnight session. So I took these blue lines here. I'm going to represent this Globex high right here. The overnight high is 5641.25, and the S&P futures right there. And I put a blue line there to represent that. I'm also going to map out the Globex low. Which right now is about, give or take, right here. This red line is kind of hovering over it. So let me just clean this up a little bit there. Unfortunately, I have to delete that. Usually I don't like to delete that work there, but I have to delete that. So Globex low here, okay? Now today might be a decent one here. So when I have more time in classes, etc., I discuss in more detail what the setup entails. Okay, but with the short time that we have here today, I'm just going to get straight to the point. If we break Globex low and we have an institutional level of demand below Globex low, this could be used as what's called a trap. Okay, where people who are, as we break down, people, short-term sellers are selling right into a level of demand in the context of a uptrend. Okay, so long story short here is this one's going to be fairly decent here today. Also, there's a flip of supply into demand. Okay, what's called a flip zone. Okay, so don't have enough time to explain that. All right, but we had 5,600 as a nice even number, which to the left was supply. Okay, which to the left was supply. Okay, and then yesterday we based on it, gave a little bit of a reactional move down, and we popped a new high out of there. Okay, so what was one supply is now demand on the flip side, right? You ever heard the phrase "catch you on the flip side"? Right. So in trading, that would be a supply to, in this case, demand flip. Okay, so that price comes in. I already have a level at 5,600, which was supply over here. Okay, and now I kind of have to override that. And 5,600 for today is going to be lined up for what's called a Globex trap. Okay, so 5,600 down into the Globex trap, and then there's also another little level down here too that I was looking at right in here. This will be interesting. All right, now if you notice, I skipped over this level here, this level here. This is all kind of a lot of time spent here, not really prime, overnight session. There's a little bit of a wick. This is yesterday's low. So, without going too much in detail, because I don't have enough time for that, these levels right here are not prime, okay? They're not ideal, okay? So I'm looking for ideal levels, and we have an IBI, impulse basing impulse, that kicked off a new high right here as well. That comes at 5.5. Call it 5.5, I'll round up, 5.560. So 5.560 S&P futures. Okay. So we got two of them that are fairly decent. The first one being 5,600 down to, call it 5,600 to 5.590, the upper one right here. Second one would be 5.560, okay, down into 5.545. All right, these are going to be qualified for called Globex bullish traps. Bullish, okay, Globex traps. All right, basically just trapping people who are on the wrong side of liquidity. All right, so those are fairly decent there. 5.560, pretty decent. All right. And, there's a couple other levels down here that never got hit. If you want to put a pin in it, 5.520, that never got hit last week. So you might want to put a pin in that as well, 5.520. So in short, 5,600, 55.60, 5.520. Those are going to be the three decent levels below current price for pullbacks into levels of demand. Okay. Now up here, I do have pinned 5.680. 5.680 for a Globex trap short. Okay, you might want to write that down. 5.680. Okay, and that is basically right here into the daily supply zone right here. Now this is close to the all-time highs. Okay, so at some point I'm expecting this to just get blown out. Okay, but because we're a bit more stretched to the upside, on a 8-9 sub-day move up with a correction probably at some point needed. Okay, this 5.680, if it were to hit today, could potentially be an area for a Globex trap short. Okay, again, I'm not trying to call a all-time higher. It's going to get here and come back down, and we're going to have another crash. Okay, everybody, is saying like, oh, this is just a dead cat bounce, and this is going to be a bigger crash potentially coming later. So just be careful with that. Okay, just be careful with that. If you stay on social media long enough, you start to build these weird biases. So that's why a lot of professional traders, they, they'll take everything with a grain of salt, and they'll trade to set up of what the markets are actually going to do, not another person, human beings, thoughts, or opinions. Long story short, 5.680 could be decent for a Globex trap short. Moving on, NASDAQ. NASDAQ futures, okay, just as a process orientation here, we got monthly on the left, we got monthly, weekly, daily. Check your monthly, weekly, daily, your higher time frames, okay? As you can see, I already talked a little bit about, and I had this level already mapped out, okay? I mentioned that this first level was probably going to be super obvious, and we broke that, came up to 19,945. Okay, this has been pinned for quite some time. I'm going to drill down, get to the to the dragon's mouth here. Okay, I'm going to map out Globex high, Globex low. So I'm on a 60-minute time frame here of the NASDAQ futures. Globex high, right here. Globex low, right. Let me zoom in. Actually, we just made a little bit of a Globex low here. All right. All right. So Globex high, Globex low, 60-minute time frame here. And I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Really, it's going to be very similar to the S&P. Now, just be careful and remember I mentioned that NASDAQ is a bit more just weaker in this sequence over the past couple of, I'd say maybe a month or two on this pullback, this major pullback that we're getting. That was well needed, by the way, for the whole year. We talked a lot about that in our live trade rooms, okay? At the end of Q2, we're in Q3, that some kind of pullback was imminent as Q2 ended, sub 25% in NASDAQ up and sub 20-ish% on S&Ps, all right? Asher selling options for tape rippers. Is Asher developing into a good trader? All right, here's Globex right here. All right, I'll put the price on the hard right edge here so y'all can see it a lot better. So 19,655, nice even number there. Put the price on the right edge there so y'all can see that. Hopefully y'all can see that. All right, 19,655. All right, that's a decent little IBI here for a Globex trap long. Okay, you might even want to get down to 650. Okay, because NASDAQ is a little bit more weaker as mentioned. And then this is all kind of gunk here. This is kind of, a lot of time here, a lot of time here. So, especially in NASDAQ, a bit more weaker. You might want to pin the 19,340 here. I'll even pump that up a little bit here to 350. I'll put that price on the hard right edge. Okay, so y'all can see that better. 19,300. Put that on the hard right edge here. And for you folks that understood a little bit more of what I was doing for the market maker GEX, GEX, right now we're in positive GEX right now overall. So, nothing too crazy. VIX down, GEX up. So pretty back to calmness. No news catalyst here today. Earnings are for the most part done for the big major companies. So pretty quiet. All right, all other things being equal. So 19,655, 19,350 down here. Those are going to be the two kind of major levels here. There's a couple of flips here. I got the red zone over here, right supply flip. So this is the whole supply zone in between here. So this is the demand, boop, that popped out, right? That popped out supply to the left. Okay, so I already knew kind of NASDAQ was going to break this first level here, and we're coming up to the second level. Now, that being said, the second level, this is going to be great up here. So you nice and easy numbers here. 20,000 NASDAQ, 20,000. Okay, you can see. Just think about it. All right, after this big rally up, people all scared, thought the world was going to end, and China, Japan rocked the markets, just changed everything, right? Oh no. All right, there's the bottom. Now rallying up. Now, okay, oh my God, NASDAQ's back above 20,000. Get long, and then that would be the correctional move. Okay, so retail traders are always just on the wrong side of motion. So 20,000 is going to be a major number for the NASDAQ. Okay, so if we rally up into that 20,000, we're like, oh no, NASDAQ is now above 20,000. Everybody get back long. Then they dump it on you, right? And then we get the correctional move, and they say, oh no, is it here you go? Are we gonna get another lower low? Is it gonna be again? And then people get scared again, and then that's when they're buying a cover from shorts, and then they're buying an enter on longs, and then that's what makes the market retail traders just emotional on the other side of professional traders being logical. Okay. 30-minute, the 30-minute down here, 60-minute is 19,350, 19,300, right down here. I didn't catch the name, so that makes sense. 19,330 down in here. All right, there's a 30-minute IBI in there, right there. Okay, nice and prime. All right, gonna move on. You can see NASDAQ kind of breaking down just a little bit there. Nothing too crazy for you aggressive. I probably wouldn't do this in NASDAQ. I probably do it S&Ps, but there is a couple of levels in here too, very on the small time frames that you might be able to pick off too. But just be careful with that. I digress. I'll just keep that 19,655 at confluence with the 30-minute and the 60-minute time frame. All right, I'm going to move on here. I've got 20 minutes before the market opens here. Let me just check oil futures. Same thing. It's just been bobbing and weaving. Okay. Monthly, weekly, daily. very range for a couple of years. Monthly on the left here, just trapped within range. We are down here, low range here. Okay, oil's been up, oil's been down, oil's been up, oil's been down. So I try not to fight momentum here. You know, we had a couple of levels mapped out. We actually just dipped in, you know, dipped into these levels, bounced out, dipped in, bounced out. Okay, so now we are closer to the lower range. Okay, I don't know if anybody took this 7250, but looks like we missed that by, what's the low? 7254, 4 ticks. There was a low right here that we had pinned. There was also 173.50 here. All right, that we're kind of above here, but yeah, we're lower range right now, so we're low on range. So you know, oil's gonna be pretty interesting. It can kind of go anywhere, not to sound cheesy, but what I would say is because we're down closer to the lower range, I'm gonna be a little more biased on the bullish side just because we're closer. But just know that the monthly range is a lot lower too, so we could dip down into the monthly level down in here. Okay, for shorting, I would be careful with shorting these little supply zones here, just because we are on low range. If this momentum is going to continue and break lower, okay, on to go deeper into the monthly lower range lower, then you know you can elect to maybe sell short rallies into supply, okay, but be very cautious with that. Okay, I wouldn't really put too much risk on that just because we are low range, and these levels in here, which are not that great to begin with on the small time frames, okay, they can easily get broken out if oil wants to continue with its condition of range. Okay, so you know oil's going to be a bit more trickier to trade just because of that. But you know, you can kind of go either way with it. Short sellers wait for rallies up into supply. Okay, but if you're more long or bullish on oil, okay, I would be working on. And now that we are touching the low range area location wise, okay, there's also going to be a case and a thesis for bullish on oil. Okay, it'll be a lot easier if we were down lower deeper into the monthly range, because then we're kind of down on the low extremes, okay, or in the high extremes. Okay, we haven't been low extreme, high extreme for quite some time in the monthly time frame on oil. Okay, so it's a trader's market. Just be very diligent on it. I'll do gold next. Gold all-time highs. Okay, macro picture bullish, 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 bullish. Monthly, weekly, daily. Okay, I'll drill down to the you know, small time frame here on the hour, on the 60-minute time frame here. I'll map out the Globex high, Globex low. I think I saved somebody's butt the other day in the live trade room. They wanted a short gold at a 15-minute supply zone. I'm not saying that in a bad way to make a joke or anything like that, but I'm like, be careful with that. You might not want to, just because you know gold's at all-time highs and you think it's like, oh, it's all-time highs now, it's going to come down. All right, doesn't mean it's going to come down. So I had mentioned it was like I think it was right over here, actually, right over here. I had mentioned, you know, be careful with that 15-minute supply, very small time frame. The monthly, weekly, daily is breaking out all-time highs. So you're going against the curve, the current. So I'd rather you get long into demand, pullbacks into demand. And as you can see, gold popping out new highs here. So just keep it simple, folks. Just keep it simple. Current going north, current going south. Don't swim against it. Don't swim against it. What trends do I have to follow? The higher time frame trend. All right, the higher time frame trend, monthly, weekly, daily. All right, once you map out your monthly, weekly, dailies, okay, everything fills in. Okay, know your macros. Know your macros. That being said, Globex high here, Globex low, represented by these blue lines here. Okay, do I have qualified levels of demand below current price? This one's fairly decent. Now this one is a test of this one, so this is not that prime. Okay, so I want to be a little careful with this one, but I will pin this. All right, I will pin this kind of right here. All right. No, I don't think it was Joseph. I think it was, it doesn't matter the name. I don't even think they took it. They just wanted some advice. Hey, what do you think about this? And I was like, be careful with that. You're about to get steamrolled because the trend is actually breaking out. All right. So, you know, people like to just naturally, you know, say like, oh, this is up, 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 so it must come down, right? Let me short it. And then it makes new highs, new highs, new highs. So, you know, just don't think, don't think, don't think, just execute logically. Thinking, you know, execution over emotion. So I will pin this one. This is super aggressive, 25.30 on gold futures. It would qualify as a Globex trap, pretty fairly decent. Okay, but this is not the greatest, freshest, primest level on the supply-demand metrics here. All right, the 2500 I'd make a note of as well down in here. On what I'm looking at right now is gold futures. All right, there's a little guy right in here too. I had to go on the small time frame to see it. So you always want to be a little bit cautious on that when you have to go down to a very small time frame. All right, but there's a little baby one right in here too. If you wanted to pin the 25.10. All right, so basically 2510, 2500 is going to be fairly decent. The lower ones down here, 2510 on gold futures and 2500, are going to be a lot, I would say, cleaner and better, and you got a deeper pullback as well. In addition to that, okay. All right, so these are going to be some fresh, decent little levels here, all right, as opposed to versus 2530, okay. All right, but if you're a bit more of aggressive, right, we got a couple of traders that are at different levels at Phantoms, right? Some people are just further along in their trading journey than others, and that's okay, that's normal. It's called life. 25, 30, decent for a aggressive bullish trap. And the good news about this is I'm not even going to map out supply because there is no supply. There's no supply. So there's nothing to lean against on gold to short against that can make a logical, edge-based logical decision where you could sell short into it because it's in the abyss. It's all-time highs. So you're literally just flipping a coin saying, hey, gold's high enough because I think it's high enough and it should come down, okay? And there's no supply, there's no selling, okay? There's no selling, so I'm not gonna waste energy and oxygen and time on that, okay? All right, be a pullback of gold down into demand. Why try to short into something just to literally high in the sky, in the clouds, pick something, all right? Yeah, below 2500, we also have monthly level. Monthlies are going to be down here. I know it's kind of ugly here. But I just want to remind folks that we've been crushing gold like long over here on the breakout. I've been a little bit more quiet on gold recently, but yeah, monthly levels down here below 25. The monthly level is going to be down here. Gold in short 23.55. Okay, we have a monthly I basing and then I. All right, impulse basing, impulse. Okay, so I'd say 23.50 in short. 23.50 would be back down in here. Okay, so that would be breaking and snapping the daily high low sequence. All right, but that could happen. Gold likes to do that sometimes. Okay, it's a very slow grinder move. Okay, as opposed to equities that are fairly quick. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, I'm not sure if it's going to happen next month or two, if we do pull back down into the monthlies at some point. Okay, at some point, but right now it's in momentum, so you can play these levels here. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, so to speak. All right, cool. So I'm gonna move on really quickly here. Let's see. I'm gonna check VIX, VIX, implied vol. All right, there's a couple other things too that I checked. Well, we got 11 minutes before open, so VIX, VIX, VIX up, market down, VIX down, market up, to keep it very simple. VIX implied 30-day implied volatility of XPX options. Right now, there's a little something, I don't want to get too advanced here, not the time here, but right now there's something funky happening with implied vol and realized vol. So I would need, and volatility, not volume, volatility. So I would need a lot more time for that. So stay tuned, Phantoms. You all know I've been opening up the book for some advanced stuff that I told you all that I wanted to at some point express to y'all. All right, and that started last week with GEX on options expiration. All right, so there's another thing too, implied vol versus realized vol, but that's not for the scope. That's beyond the scope for time and day right now. The point I'm trying to make here is we get VIX up. VIX up about what, 2-3%, give or take. Now that's not extreme or anything like that, but VIX is up pre-market. So, I mapped out yesterday's high, yesterday's low. All right, now just because it's up pre-market doesn't mean it's going to sustain that way. So we also want to map this out on the, the smaller time frame as well. Okay, so I'm going to map out the overnight high inside VIX, just like as we did in S&P NASDAQ futures. We'll represent that by this white line here. VIX low, overnight, down here. All right, I kind of have these three circles, ellipses here, if you will. One above it, because I want to see if VIX continues its move up and fades, grinds higher, that could be more bearish for the market. If it kind of chops here, comes down in the middle and remains in the middle, that's kind of neutral, kind of choppy price action most likely. And or if VIX comes down, drops new lows and trends lower, as we did yesterday, right? Here's overnight high, overnight low. Look at all day yesterday, VIX down, fading lower, close on lows while the markets were up. Okay, so VIX is going to be a telling sign of how I want to trade the day and price action. Kind of like the weather, right? The Doppler radar, okay? It seems quiet, okay? Sun shines out, but there's a thunderstorm that's coming up in your city. You just got an alert on your phone that be careful of flash flood warning, right? So it's kind of like the warning sign, if you will. I'll keep it there for right now, okay? Right now, VIX up sub 3%, all right? So if we continue higher, we can grind a bit more lower, etc., okay? But we'll obviously monitor that to give us some edge for the day, okay? SPYs right now, pre-market quote, S&P daily time frame here. Okay, you can see we recovered nicely. S&P's yearly rebalanced off that yearly VWAP. Beautiful, beautiful. Can't even paint that picture beautiful enough. Okay, and then we recovered pretty nicely. Insane, right? All right, very quickly. So we're above certain levels here. Interesting on S&Ps. Okay, there is one unfilled gap right here, but that gap, if that gap were to fill up here, we're basically kissing all-time highs. So kind of insane, right? How quickly it dropped and how quickly we recovered from that. Okay. So just want to put a pin in that. Basically, that's like closer to the all-time high. All right, not sure if that's going to happen today. All right, be careful. We got a wide range bar off yesterday's close breaking above here. So always be healthy skepticism. Okay, this could be suckering in a lot of people now into getting long. Okay, late into this move up, and then that could be some exit distribution. Okay, I know market makers have to unload some of their probably hedges this week too as well potentially. Due to last week, so we could correct here. So I'm expecting at some point some kind of correction here. All right. Yes, for you folks that read the books or the technical analysis books, this could be an inverse head and shoulders where this is a head, okay, a shoulder. This is the head, okay, and this correctional wave right here could be the shoulder. All right, basic. All right, I learned that in first grade. Okay. All right, there's a PhD level mechanics here as well that we talk about where in terms of market maker positive, negative gex and vex. Okay, a lot more advanced stuff going on here too. But yeah, we could have a potential correction here. This could be a monthly rebalance here on the yearly. Monthly VWAP right there on that orange line. Okay, and we also have kept this this new low in this market or this August 5th day, okay, with Japan. I kept that VWAP there as well. So it's all converging kind of right here. So there might be some kind of pullback right here, call it 540s in SPYs, potentially this week or maybe not, if next week, to get some fuel, to get some demand to potentially pump this higher. Okay, again, be careful. All right, that's just a quick little thesis. Okay, that is not facts. Okay, we got to trade the tape based on facts. All right, so right now, if you folks that know how to build the call put matrix that I'm not going to do right now for YouTube, okay, that's going to be housed for actual members. The pre-market quote 559, okay, rounding down, so use the 549 as your pin or as your at the monies. NASDAQ, pretty interesting. We did not break, okay, S&Ps are basically like up here relative to NASDAQ. NASDAQ did not break, okay, kept these notes here, right, impulse correction on the monthlies, high, low. Okay, so we're still here on NASDAQ. We did not break this level just yet. NASDAQ had a nice push, green bar up, filling that space. I had mentioned that this level was so obvious that we're probably going to punch higher. NASDAQ finally filled its gap right here. If I were to just move this line over a little bit there. All right, so NASDAQ is weaker, a bit more weaker for right now. Okay, put that as a grain of salt there. Okay, I would not be surprised, as mentioned, okay, if we come back down here as a correctional wave right here. Okay, so NASDAQ has a slight gap down. Slight gap down, inside gap. All right, so we'll see how the intraday tape plays out. But NASDAQ actually did not break its supply, and it's at its supply. So NASDAQ is pretty interesting today. Bonds, as noted, I'm long TLT in my IRA long term. All right, I'm long TLT. I own a little bit of some shares, and I also own some option leaps. I actually even own some bonds itself that I locked in back in October, as mentioned as well. All right, welcoming some long-term bond yield. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make, bonds up this morning slightly, bonds up, seesaw effect, correlation, bonds up, yield down, market up. So the bond market has been letting us know a little bit for right now. It's kind of been pricing in recession, but the bond yield is telling us that this market's satisfactory of going up. So this year is going to be pretty interesting for the final year. Apple, just based on major market internals, and I don't even want to talk about bonds right now. That's a whole story for another day, or a whole lesson for another day. Apple, yesterday's high, yesterday's low. If I can bring this and stop moving it. Okay, yesterday's high, yesterday's low here with these blue lines. Apple does have a couple levels of supply here. All right, just be careful with this here. Of course, if this market continues higher, I would not be surprised if Apple at some point retests all-time highs or even breaks all-time highs. Okay, at some point. Okay. All right, but right now we are at this little level right here. Apple's been kind of holding the market up along with Nvidia too. A couple other of the FANG stocks have been getting sold off, while Apple and Nvidia have been, holding the world up, so to speak, on the S&Ps and Nasdaq, for the most part. So be careful with shorting Apple. I've been more of a bull on Apple. I've been taking more long apples than shorts. All right, but today slight gap down. We did have a little bit of a liquidity fish yesterday. All right, but be careful with Apple. It can kind of go anyway. Still would be more on the bullish side. Okay, this level right here that we're in is not the strongest level in the world. So Apple, as mentioned, has been holding this market up. So that would be on the bullish side in the event markets hold bids. Amazon. All right, and by the way, there's a lot of other stocks too, but I usually like to tend to focus on the big ones: Apple, Amazon, Google, Tesla, Magnificent Seven, if you will, because I know that the options are going to be super liquid on these. Okay. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low. Amazon has been decent. Don't get me wrong. It has not recovered as much as other tickers. Okay, on the FANG stock, if you're comparing it to FANG. Okay. But Amazon, has some open space above here. There's a gap fill right here on Amazon. All right, we're kind of in the middle still. We're in the middle of Amazon, so you might want to be careful with Amazon today. Last week we did kind of break out. Okay, last week we did kind of break out a little bit here from this little basing here, inside bar break. But right now, if you were to just say, okay, here we are all-time highs, and here we are with that that move that we had due to Japan, we're basically dead smack in the middle of range. So be very careful with Amazon this morning. Okay, just based on location wise. Google, I mentioned to members that Google is a really good long-term play. I was seeing if I could, I got some sold puts on Google down here, 150 and 140. I was trying to get some premium here at 130, but there's not a lot of premium there. So I was seeing if Google can kind of come down. Hasn't yet rebalanced off daily VWAP. We got fade VWAP here. All right, so it's kind of converging a little bit here inside of the pinch. But Google is beautiful because it's coming off of some nice location here, okay? This major monthly impulse move up, major monthly correctional move down. I was hoping that Google kind of got down to the 150 as mentioned. All right, but right now pre-market quote 168.86. All right, side gap up, outside gap. So Google long desk, meaning bullish right off the open. But as always, just because we're gapping up does not mean that we're going to continue higher. So we'll see how the intraday tape pans out. And also keep in mind that the Nasdaq is in that daily supply level. Okay, so that could kind of drag Google down just a little bit as well. Tesla, been crushing Tesla for the past couple of days, and that's kind of ironic because Tesla has not been in the greatest location in the world. All right, this can kind of go anywhere. All right, slight gap up. It's an outside gap as well. Tesla's in a slight bit of a squeeze. The only challenge with Tesla this morning is we do have some daily supply right here, so I want to be a little cautious on Tesla bulls right in here. And if you're long, make sure you're TPing, taking profit appropriately in here. Okay, and I would not be surprised if they liquidity sweep above here, swipe this level up here, act like they're going to fill this gap, and then putting in some kind of wick and topping tail here. All right, so Tesla does have some room to go. As always, just be cautious. We have a slight gap up, but we could fill maybe the gap and retest yesterday's high coming in here. All right, so just be patient, be diligent. We'll see how the intraday tape plays out. Meta, I'm going to bypass just really quickly because Microsoft is a bit of a better setup. Positive COG closed yesterday. Beautiful liquidity. I can't believe it. I had mentioned that this is probably going to be a liquidity sweep right here. It took Japan to raise its rate to do that. All right, probably suckered in some sellers, and now we're back up. All right, so Microsoft has a better setup than I would say a couple of the other ones because we have a positive COG yesterday's close. Okay, and last but not least, NVIDIA crushed NVIDIA yesterday. Hopefully, y'all did too. We are in this level right here. So I want to be a little patient, cautious with that. Slight gap down on NVIDIA, but the next monthly level is up here. So NVIDIA does have a bit of room here, but there's going to be some kind of supply here that we might need to absorb on NVIDIA. So we might want to be a little bit more patient on NVIDIA here today. All right, real quick. Let me just look at internals really briefly just to get a foot on the market here. Remember, VIX was up slightly on the pre-market. So make a note of that. Advanced declines, $ADD, negative 360-ish, not super extreme. negative, but slightly negative, nothing insane. Vol-D, $ Vol-D, volume of the New York Stock Exchange up versus down. Okay, I'm more concerned with the ratio. Right now it's slightly negative 1.2 on volume on the New York Stock Exchange. That first move there, that's not extreme. Positive -3 would be more extreme. So nothing crazy extreme here. All right, the only thing is we got VIX slightly higher. All right. All right, let's see who's out to play today, Bulls or Bears. Okay, Tesla. Tesla seems interesting. Might want to be a little bit patient on that. I know Google and Microsoft have a bit of a better setups. Apple as well. Let's see. So Apple has odd range bar off open here. Tesla does too on the 2-minute time frame. All right, we can lean against this opening print on the 2-minute time frame on Tesla here. Long call. Microsoft, not the greatest there. All right, so I'm going to fix here to get long some Tesla. Got to be a little cautious here with this bullish exposure, but if I pick up, say, the 232 half, those are going for about 330, give or take, on premium. All right, so I'll pick these up here. Tesla long call, 232 half. Tesla long call here, day trade. August 23rd expiration. Want to be a little careful with the bullish exposure here this morning. Don't want to get trapped here. 232 to 332 half. All right, these contracts are going for about 310-ish. I filled at 315. I'll lock that up. All right, so 232 half, 315 long call. I'll just put a blue line in there right now to represent that when and where, to timestamp where I got in. All right, long call Tessie. The video was amazing yesterday. Side cap down here today. Be careful with that. Apple, positive COG, decent. Let me see. Q's out the gate. Apple fairly decent too. Let me just check VIX. Yeah, the matrix is used for both futures and options, yes. All right, Apple's decent here, long call. The active trader in Thinkorswim is most futures traders work off the matrix dome, active trader, if you will. Apple here, 227.5. These are going for strike call. These are going for about $1.60. I want to be a bit careful on these long exposures here. 227 half. This is going for about $1.50 here. Long Apple. Just got filled at 163. All right, so far, Apple and Tesla. Netflix kissing almost all-time highs there. Microsoft trying here. So that's a little bit of a trap. Microsoft and Google here looking a little bit better. Microsoft holding its VWAP pretty nicely here this morning, so far off the opening day's range. I'd like to see a positive COG close above here on Google. Got to be a bit careful on Tesla. As mentioned, want to be a little careful on the trap there. All right, because we are in daily supply, so I want to be a little cautious on that. As mentioned. All right, Apple looking a little bit better. All right, Google looking decent here, long call, Google. Getting above its daily 20 MA. Let's see, so Google might be decent here for, so Tesla is the potential trap. Want to be careful with that. Google. Be patient here this morning, folks. Be patient always, but today's unique because we're at certain levels on the index level on SPYs and Qs and SPX and NDX. Google long call 170. These are going for about $1.28, give or take. On Google here, got filled at 135, basically where it is right now. Long call Google. So we mentioned GC 570. Yep. So you went sell short into new highs, front side entry. So you're trying to play the corrective wave. Ballsy, but you got it right now. Ballsy, but you got it right now. Decent. I'll be taking some profit as we mean revert back in here. If you get it. Lily, great. Options are super expensive and illiquid, so you know Lily being up is going to be good for S&Ps. This has a nice little outside gap from yesterday. This is actually a pro gap up. Monthly, weekly, daily up. Red bar closed yesterday, and then gap up clearing yesterday, prior day's high. That's a pro gap up. So Lily is going to be good for markets to giving us higher here. Right, Lily's a big stock. Netflix as well, but if you're buying into Netflix, be very careful because now you're buying into all-time high or close to all-time highs. So be careful with that. Apple, I'm going to take off a little bit here on Apple. TP some. Google decent. I didn't want to miss anything on Microsoft. Microsoft might be decent here too as well. It's not as great. Tesla testing daily low for right now, so we got to be a little bit patient on that. But let me shave off a little here on Apple. All right, very quickly, you're going from 163 to 170. I'll shave out just a little bit here on Apple, but Tesla's going to be the tricky one here because of that daily supply. Jeez, yeah, no pump here. I got filled at 167, which is nothing at all really here. All right. All right, still looking good. Just shaved out a little bit TP. Probably a little bit too slow on here. doing that really quickly, I mean. All right, Google trying to pump a new high there too. Let me see, Amazon, Microsoft's still really not setting up that well. Yep, I see you, Sean. All right, so Tesla's already giving us red flags that we could potentially be wrong. I'm gonna give it before I go here, because I only spent an hour here with you folks on YouTube. But if this thing, I'll give it a little bit of room here. Okay, it's kind of testing. You know, I sometimes I just like to get right out of a quick little new low right here on daily. So I'm gonna give it a little room here. If Tesla were to break, come fill its gap and get below, yesterday's range at the end of the day. 221.90 is where I'm going to stop out on Tesla. Okay. Okay. 221.90 is where, if that happens, I'm going to get stopped out. Okay. Right now it's trying to battle. It's a little bit below its VWAP. Very opening day's range. Always could be a little volatile. All right, so there's going to be the stop loss there, okay, on Tesla, 221.90. All right, but be patient here, folks. VIX still elevated a little bit there. Off the open, we pushed down a little bit, but we're still elevated here on VIX. Spies above its daily VWAP. So the bulls are trying to remain out here. Lilly on fire. Walmart on fire. AVGO looking decent here too. I love AVGO, Broadcom. I liked the close yesterday because we had a nice, it was inside bar, swipe down, made a quick little new low, and then swipe back up. So AVGO is decent here. AVGO long call here, positive CRG. The only thing is this market's not really pumping higher, so I want to be a little cautious with a bullish exposure here this morning. AMD. Crushed AMD yesterday. NVIDIA and AMD, beautiful. A couple of members even in the chat were mentioning AMD. Beautiful day yesterday, AMD. Trying something, it's breaking above here, but I want to be a little cautious just because we're breaking here. So again, it could be a little bit of a trap. So you want to be a little careful on AMD here this morning. Okay, just based on the higher time frames. All right, you can see a lot of wicking action here, so just be a little patient on that. If you did good on it yesterday, maybe you can trade a little bit more smaller size on it today. And of course, NVIDIA being at that daily supply too. All right, it's still going to be a tough short just because it's such a strong stock, but you just keep in mind NVIDIA is at a level of conjunction here. It's at a crossroads, right? So Qs might be the better bet here this morning, just because instead of trying to pick off the right FANG stock, Qs kind of incorporates all of that together. All right. Again, just keep in mind that Qs are in that supply. But you can see I got bullish exposure on across the board, and it's not really pumping. Y'all see that, right? Right, it's not really pumping, so be patient. All right, it's a long trading day. So today's actually going to be fairly interesting. for how it plays out. All right, so keep your cards close. Netflix, Lily are just on fire right now. Netflix all-time highs. Microsoft decent here. I like yesterday's close on Microsoft. Microsoft actually is giving us a nice little positive CRG. I like this formation on Microsoft here. Yeah, Netflix is annoying. Hindsight probably could have just like swung traded instead of dealing with the intraday chop. Speaking honestly, which I always do. Microsoft, not a bad play here. Decent. I love yesterday's close on it. Positive CRG with a hammer. A little bit of a hammer. So, Microsoft. 425. You know, a long call. I'll check XOM now. Probably the last thing that I just checked really briefly because I'm over time right now on the timer. Let me see, 425. Again, for you folks that are in Phantoms, you know, y'all know I trade with y'all all day for the most part. Microsoft. You know I'm going to be getting into SPX. All that kind of good stuff later today. Let me see, 425 long call, Microsoft. $425. All right, just got filled at 268. AMD is popping up if you did get long, you know, TP some, take some profit. Let's see, Google's up a bit here. Just pulled the trigger on Microsoft. Easily could have pulled the trigger on Qs as well. Gotta take profit on some Google. Gotta check XOM for a request. Qs look even good here. If I pick up the 483 for about 92 cents. For a quick scalp. But the challenge with Qs is at that daily supply, man. That's so, you know, gotta be careful with that. All right, and one thing I'm noticing is the options are not pumping as much. So I gotta check my my Greeks and all that. So Google. All right, Google's up, probably up. See, they're not pumping. They're not pumping today, folks. Today's not a pump fest off the open. Took some out here, Google for 146. So if y'all remember Friday's session, it was, by this time, day was done. So today the market seems like it's gonna make you work. It's gonna make you work for that money. All right. Steady. It's steady. Apple 2 equal to high. Microsoft use a pump. Q's. Chessie being annoying. Oh, XOM will be the last thing here. Let me check XOM. You know, XOM is on the monthlies. If you look over here on the monthlies, man, it's kind of, you know, XOM is kind of like, I like XOM stock. Don't get me wrong. All right, don't get me wrong. Don't twist my words here. But, you know, the condition is, right? This is a monthly time frame here on the left. 1, 2, 2.5 years. Very rangy. Very rangy. And you can see, look at the daily, very wicky, up, down, up, down, up, down. So this is not really my cup of tea, so to speak. All right. So you can see, you know, wicks here. So range, monthly range. This is upper lower range. This is lower range. Okay, weekly kind of choppy, inside bar, inside bar, inside bar, inside bar. You can see wicks. So today, you know, people got trapped up here. Got a doji top here. Okay, right, topping tail. You know, shooting star, whatever. Okay, then we broke down below it today. So there's a little bit of momentum here. Somewhat. So, I mean, even if I, you know, so you kind of want to be more short oriented just because we're up closer to the upper range here. Okay, and we got some topping tails here. We're starting to break down a little bit here. All right, but that could potentially just be short lived because I would not be surprised. If I am short, okay, I'd want to be taking some profit down in here mid range. So XOM not really the greatest condition wise, okay, but for today, there, you know, it already kind of broke down a bit here coming from low range with the topping tail from yesterday. So we're kind of breaking down. So if you're, and we had a wide range bar on the negative side below, below the 20, below the 200, and below VWAP. So, you know, it is working on the bearish side here, right? So I'll be pulling your fade VWAPs, taking negative COGs, or if we come up into VWAP, okay, let it come up, green bar, and then take your negative COG print over here. Okay, so X1 will be a bit more on the bearish side, and you can see SPYs are holding some kind of bids, at least here for this morning, okay, but energy and XOM is not. Okay, so I checked the sector, checked the monthly, weekly, daily condition on this, okay, and we do have an executionable bar from yesterday's close topping tail breakdown here today, okay, so I'd work on that. Don't chase down, wait for a correction moves up, take negative COG. AMD new high if you're in, Google new high, TP. All right, TP, take profit. All right, very slow market, so be careful, be cautious today. All right, sold some off at Google at 160. All right, that's pretty much going to be it, folks, for the most part. At least for right now. All right, Tesla making you sweat a little bit there, no big deal. All right, Q's got a nice little move up. Microsoft trying. Oh, AVGO, I just missed my own my own ticker that I wanted to get, AVGO. It's all good, I'll snag that. Might want to take some profit on Q's as well, just real quick. Remember, we are coming into that supply zone on Qs. So bottom at 93, just sold some off at 109. We're going for 112. AVGO looked good. Tesla's kind of the only headache for the most part right now. Q's new high. There we go. AMD pumping. Google pumping here. Take some profit, folks. We got a nice little pump on Google here. Just put out an order to TP Google at 176. They gave me. AMD on fire, broke it. TP some if you got it. Apple being a little annoying there. Microsoft pumped a quick little new high too. All right, folks. So for right now, I think I gotta go here. AMD on fire. It's clearing this easy here on AMD. Everybody get long AMD. If you did a good job, price action is giving it very well here. Don't chase now though. Be careful, don't chase. Wait for your pullback and take positive CRG. But looking good. Looking good. For now. All right, folks, I'm gonna go. I gotta go. If you want a little, if this kind of floated your boat a bit there, right? Pull your VWAPs for you folks that know. Okay, pull your VWAPs, as you know, your fade VWAPs, all that kind of good stuff, right? If you know the deal. If this is something of interest of you, maybe yeah, maybe no, don't really matter to us. But if you want to check it out, TradePhantoms.com. All right, TradePhantoms.com, and then click on the register button there. As normal, you put your name, your email, just so you can potentially get registered for this Thursday, August 22nd, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, about a 90-minute class, about an hour and a half, give or take. You know, it'll let you know kind of how what Phantoms is all about, how markets work from all professionals. Okay, all directions, up, down, sideways, with options, stocks, futures, forex, options, crypto, all asset classes. It's not just one asset class. Swing trading, day trading, long-term investing. Okay, if you're trading a small account, just starting out, all the way to larger accounts, managing your wealth management. Okay, kind of have it all one-stop shop. Okay, foundational supply demand. Okay, with some proprietary strategies as well. Okay, that you see me trade here. Okay, I'm Mr. Blue, which you're here right now, and then that class will be hosted by either Mr. Black or Mr. Green. Typically, they are in there together, just helping each other out with some questions, etc., etc., etc. So that would be your kind of start if you see fit, and if not, that's okay too. And that's it. I'm gonna go. I'll see some of y'all Phantoms later in class today. Be patient today. All right, be patient today, as always. And then I'll see some of y'all in class later this evening, and then God willing, tomorrow morning in the trade room for not just an hour, for whenever I say, okay, I'm cool, done. But y'all know I spend a lot of time with y'all. All right, trade safe today, and God bless. Take care. Blue out.